Hello everyone, I'm back and well I got to have like 2 days or something and I'm going to try to not actually use other because I could have got influenced by Spider-Man dude. Also I think Grace Girl also did a review and kind of made me think a little bit too. And of course X-Men, I had to watch X-Men's review on it as well. So I'm not going to use any of them. I'm going to try my best not to actually involve them into this review and just have my ideas only. But it's kind of hard. So we'll just see how this goes and if I do actually use their stuff. And chances are I'm going to put their links down below so you can actually watch theirs too because it does give you ideas and questions and stuff. Alright, so this is the one with all the stops and everything in there. I have mostly everything in this, everything that I remember in a movie. So, yeah, I guess let's begin. Well, let me just start with something first. I'll say something that actually will be about the review of this, or if you want to call it that, and then I'll continue with every single thing that I got. So, first thing is, it's been 2 days. I still say it's a pretty good movie. I mean, it's no Spider-Man 2. I mean, it doesn't really have that. I mean, it's a newer franchise, meaning that they can't really get that nice shiny thing that they could if they actually still continued on with the original franchise. With that said, I think it is really, really good. I actually will buy it as soon as it comes out. Heck, if I'm able to, I will watch it for second time in theaters because chances are I missed something and my bladder couldn't contain it and I missed like at least I think 2 minutes of something. But luckily they were able to actually just tell me, oh, yeah, in the movie when I left, they actually were able to tell me actually what I missed. Besides, chances are I missed Felicia seeing the Green Goblin in the window thing. So if that did happen, I missed it. If it didn't happen, then that means I didn't miss anything at all. But it really is a good movie. The funny part is that I can't really get a friend of mine who is like true blue to the original franchise to actually give it a chance, even though I wouldn't blame him because the first movie did kind of screwed it over. Which I'm going to do another video of talking about how, because this is a sequel to a movie of the prequel they did, how screwed up the prequel made it. Well, anyways, let's carry on this, shall we? The first thing I wrote down is the spiders are dead, but so in the movie, when you first seen the movie, you saw Peter's father gas the spiders. He killed all the spiders he had. Chances are he killed the spiders he had in the subway. But for some reason, even though he killed those spiders, I thought he basically killed all of them. There still were in Oscorp. There's still many of the spiders that was in Oscorp. And of course now you don't really get to see the spider chamber that they have in Oscorp because they had to kill all cross-species genetics because of what happened with the lizard. Kind of funny, I do have to admit, that is kind of funny. What's even crazier is the fact that in the video game that goes alongside with this movie, they actually killed all the cross-species bad guys. I mean, they killed the water guy, they killed Vermin, they killed Leguana, and they also killed Scorpion and stuffed them and made them like big, huge figures because of Craven. But of course, if you guys are like, wait a minute, aren't there 5 of them? You are correct. Yes, there are 5 cross species that was in the video game, and Rhino is missing. Right now, I don't know if they did some kind of crazy promo with him in the game. I have no idea. I tried searching. Sadly, all the gamers out there are kind of just more like, I gotta get this walkthrough done. I gotta get this walkthrough done, and then after that, I can play the game. I mean, like, chances are, if you are playing the game, you should actually do the side missions and you'll get lots of people watching your stuff because no one else is actually doing the side missions but you. But since everyone else is like, gotta get the walkthrough up, I won't actually be able to tell you until like months later, when maybe even when the movie is out, that, oh yeah, by the way, Rhino did show up in the video game. Excuse me. And of course, I can also mention the fact that there is a vulture cross species genetics, and I think there's also a man wolf, but chances are, yeah. Well, with that said, basically, so yeah, I don't get it on that one. So the spiders died, but yet they have spiders they had in Oscorp already. Excuse me. And with that said, it's kind of like, I thought he killed all the spiders. That's one thing. I thought he killed all the spiders. Well, sadly, I actually wrote Roosevelt, but we'll find out Roosevelt later in the movie. So if you actually saw the movie, you know exactly what Roosevelt means. And here's the big messed up thing that Avi Arad allowed is the fact that he wants a Venom movie all by itself. So why don't we take the Brox out of this idea of a movie and basically have the Brox be like the original Amazing Spider-Man 616 universe instead of actually making them scientists? Which I'm like, okay. So you want his father to be drunk and his mom to actually die giving birth to him. I would like to say that is just stupid, messed up, and geez, I thought if you really are a Venom fan, you would actually like Brock to be more like in Ultimates. Actually have a family, have his dad being a scientist, his mom being a whatever, and those two are still alive and they actually treat him right. Instead, you basically wrote him out, basically get rid of him from the Ultimates idea. Excuse me. Which, the good news is that the airplane, which that was a good. There's two airplane scenes in the movie, and the first airplane scene, I do have to admit, is quite good. Yeah, it's really quite good. I still got sad when he shot Miss Honey, aka Peter's mom. I mean, like, you gonna pay, man. You are gonna pay for killing Miss Honey. Yeah, for people who don't know, that Miss Honey, the person who played Miss Honey is also Peter's mom. Well, yes. And for anyone who loved Miss Honey in Matilda, I said from now on, if you know that actor dude, and that actor dude's gonna try to hit it big, I say screw him. Screw him. Which, of course, everyone's gonna say, but he just got hired for the job. The person who really killed Miss Honey is the writers. And besides, his parents had to die anyways, so yeah, I get it, but still, that's just not right. So the good news is that you kind of can get the idea that Peter's dad could be alive, which could bring up the whole Ultimate Clone saga. And if they're able to do that, ooh, that would be so interesting. The only messed up thing how they screwed that crap up is because, well, I'll continue that on in my other video, which will talk about how the first movie screwed up the second movie. So let's continue on, shall we? So we basically get to the part where Spider-Man goes against the unsuited Rhino guy. Alex. Let's just call him Alex. So the Alex guy, he actually, it was a good sequence. It was a good thing. I actually got the whole he's Spider-Man thing. The only messed up thing I kind of trying to remember is, did we see the logo in the movie? Did we actually see it say Amazing Spider-Man 2? Or am I correct and they didn't actually show Amazing Spider-Man 2? Or is the fact that they showed it and I blinked, which I didn't even blink in that movie. So, okay, I'm kind of like, did they show that logo? Anyways, The real big thing is when he actually he dodges all those bullets. And remember that some of the in some of the trailers to begin with, they actually had the Tumblr thing. It says Daily Bugle Tumblr is on Tumblr. That so you would figure they would still keep it in the movie, but yeah, it's not in the movie. And what's even crazier is that it's not even on a few of the last trailers they showed. So it's kind of funny. It really is. It's really kind of funny. I mean, what? So yeah. And yeah, I kind of lost train of thought on that one, but yeah, I mean, it's not even in a movie. Oh yeah, I remember. I understand that they're just making promotions. They were just using that spot so they're able to say, "Hey, we got a Tumblr you should follow because we are going to put lots and lots of newspaper articles on there." Like, I am following it. I mean, you get lots of stuff. Like, for instance, you got Shocker, you got Carnage mentioned, you got Eddie Brock doing 2 articles, and many other things, and also the whole Spidey trying to get popular thing by this girl reporter, which I would say, why not? Make Peter love that girl reporter. She deserves it. She deserves to actually get Spider-Man to say, "Hey, I saw your work, what you wrote. Thanks." Yeah. Alright, next one is Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 along with Iron Man 3 have one thing in common. The hero gets hit by a truck. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but in the same way, it's kind of like Iron Man 3 did it, and what's worse is they made it even worse. The fact that Tony wasn't even in the suit; he was actually piloting it. Yeah, which kind of made me a little bit sad, saying, "Oh, look at the armor; it could get run over by anyone any second." Yeah, but Spider-Man's getting hit by a car was fun. Truck was fun too. It was kind of funny. And we get to the graduation, which, dude, you're pressing for graduation time? Seriously? What's the deal with that? So, he made it in there, and it's just like the scene that I heard that it was like Stanley was there, and he had his mask still on, and Stanley said, "Hey, I think I know that guy." Yeah, so the only messed up part in this whole entire scene, besides the whole Gwen saying this big speech, and it seems like, ooh, is this just like the masks thing they did in the first movie? Is it like that? Is that what we're trying to do here? The mask. Can you find yourself? Do you know who you are? Are you trying to find yourself? Are we doing this again? But this time it's all about Gwen's death. Because if we're doing that, what the hell? And also we can mention the fact that Uncle Ben basically did the same thing. The fact that he left a message and Peter just couldn't listen to the message. So he made it late. He didn't get to hear her speech at all. And apparently he was just wearing a shirt and some shorts, which is kind of like, this is your graduation, man. Seriously, this is your graduation. With that said, it's like, what? Really, I'm like, what? And the real messed up part would have to be the one where he kisses Gwen in front of everybody. Peter doesn't do that. Peter Parker does not do that. Look at the previous Spider-Man films, which that's the only ones I'm going to point out. I'm not going to actually talk about anything else. So, yeah, if you check this out, it's just the fact that, yeah, in all 2 of those movies in the musical, you don't see Peter actually in live public kissing kissing Mary Jane. Yeah, kissing Aunt May is okay if he actually kissed her on the cheek. That's okay, but to just kiss Mary Jane or kiss Gwen Stacy like right in front of everybody, even though in the musical thing he did dance with her. So, and as for the whole kissing people in public, did Peter ever do that? No, I don't think so. I don't think he ever actually kissed a girl right in front of everyone in public. No, he never did that. So, but anyways, let's get away from that and actually talk about Aunt May. Aunt May, her. This is another one I'm going to talk about in the whole prequel video, but still, Aunt May's hair. Now I can believe she is Aunt May. I can now believe it because Aunt May wearing her hair long and down, that's not Aunt May. I mean, given in the first Spider-Man movie, you had Aunt May going to bed and her hair was down and stuff, and then Green Goblin shot the side of the house. Boom! Oh, holy crap! Yeah, I mean, it's understandable if you're going to sleep and you put your hair down. That's okay. But if you're gonna wear it completely and it's going to be all the way down, it's kind of like, yeah, that's not Aunt May at all. I mean, seriously, that's just not Aunt May. But the hairstyle they just did, they gave Aunt May the shorter hair. The fact that the hair is wrapped up and everything, that is Aunt May. Now I can believe she is Aunt May. Even if they're not going to put gray hair on her, which I say keep it as is. I mean, she's okay without the gray hair, just as long as you keep that short hairstyle that you just created. If you keep that, I can keep believing she is Aunt May. If you don't keep that like you did in the movie, the fact that you had like at least 2 scenes extra that didn't even have her hair up like that, yeah, I was like, you're playing around here. Keep her hair up so I can actually remember that she's supposed to be Aunt May instead of just saying, this is just some lame attempt on making Aunt May. Yeah, and this is where it actually, I don't know if all this is, yeah, I think it's kind of jumbled up here. So, sorry for anyone who is trying to actually go chronological. I couldn't really get it like written because I had to wait all the way to the end of the movie to do it because everyone's going to be like, oh, your cell phone. What you doing with your cell phone, man? Come on, turn your cell phone off. Or put the light down or something. So, yeah, from then on, this is now going to be chronologically wrong. But hopefully we can try. So, this is now to the point of where he did the cheesy moment, the cheesy Sundance moment, the fact that they're trying to become friends now. Because, okay, I can actually do this. Hold on. So, let me just hop right back because I'm going to do this in chronological. This is now at the Chinese place. Yeah, so they're in Chinatown in New York City. Gwen actually invited him to eat with his family, but sadly he keeps seeing Captain Stacy. See messed up visions of Captain Stacy. I don't even remember if he actually was bloody. I don't think they actually did have him bloody. They just had him a little bit beaten and just seeing him. The sightings you get to see him in is, I think, oh, it might be 4. Yeah, so the first time he saw him was when he was nearby a police car after he got hit by the truck. And he stared blindly at this police officer thinking that it actually was Captain Stacy. Then after that, it was at graduation. They said, come Peter, take a picture with us. And he saw Captain Stacy like right behind him, giving him a blind stare. He's kind of like, no, I need to go find Aunt May. So that's number 2. Number 3, I think it was at the Chinatown. Yeah, so yeah, it was at Chinatown. And number 4 would be at Electro's. Oh look, there's Tobey Maguire, Peter, Spider-Man. No, anyways, so yeah, you also had him at the Electro fight at the electric plant, which he finally got out of it after the 4th time. He finally said, shook it off, and kept fighting. Excuse me. But that's where the place they broke up, and I do have to admit it's kind of messed up that he looks away and looks down. I mean, he needs to just he needs to have his head on his arm and he's just leaning towards the wall. If he does that, that's Peter Parker. If he looks down and everything, it's kind of like yeah, that's not really kind of like Peter Parker. But of course, I have just a few nitpicks. It's not that bad. So, yeah. And let's see. I think that's I think before the graduation, he actually met Electro slash Max Dillion. So let's talk about him. Excuse me. So Max Dillion, who was played by Jimmy Fox, I have to admit that was a good one. Sadly, I haven't really read that. I didn't read the ultimate version of him, but I kind of thought he was a Latino. So yeah, I think Electro either is a Latino or it's just like in the Ultimate Comics with Miles Morales. He's a blondie dude that was sedated. Either way, his performance of him and the likeness of him, I would say that during using the 616, technically he was a big jerk, and he was kind of full of himself. The fact that he had something he needed to do, his boss or something was like, "You have you can you go up there in the power line and fix it for us or fix it for me?" He's like, "I'll do it for $50," and he's like, "Here's $50." So he went up there, he fixed the power line, and while fixing the power line, lightning struck him while fixing the power line. So that's how he became Electro. So with this Max Dillon, this Max Dillon right here is very interesting. I mean, you had, let's see, who said what? I think Grace, that Grace girl, she said something about he was like Poison Ivy, and you had X-Men talking about how he actually got the idea from, I don't know, both of them technically said that he was like Jim Carrey's the Riddler or Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy, which I see it as what it is. It's just a nice interpretation. The fact that you actually get to care about this guy. Yeah, the fact that you feel sorry for him, which is kind of like even more so I have to talk about in another video. But yeah. So with this guy, it was very, very incredible the fact that he went back to his place and wow, he had like Spider-Man up the wazoo. I mean, he technically was just like what Harry Osborn was in the first trilogy. The fact that he had so many paper clippings in him, and when he disappeared, he went, "Bud, where are you?" But in this case, he basically had like a delusion. He was very delusional. The fact that Spider-Man was like, "So you came all this way for me? Really? You came actually all this way to say happy birthday? Oh, you got me a cake?" And this is one funny thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that his cake actually was green and yellow. You guys have to know what that means. Yeah, so that was like a nice little Easter egg, the fact that his birthday cake was green and yellow. So, with that said, basically, you get him actually going to Oscorp and he's like happy birthday to me and all that, and he has his card, and you also get Alistair Smythe for the first time, which yeah, he's a bit of a snob. I mean, let's see, the video game version of him and also the 1994 version of him, I would say, well, yeah, I know for a fact that by interpretation, either video game or by cartoon, is that he wasn't snobby that much. I mean, yeah, he wasn't that snobby whatsoever. I mean, he was like the Promethium X. He's like it's transmuted to lead, and it's like yeah, it's transmuted to lead, and he was like, and Kingpin was like Spider Man knew it. He knew it would transmute. It was so funny. I was like, no, he didn't. Yeah, too funny. But anyways, um, so you had Alistair Smythe, who was a bit of a smug dude, cockiness, you know. So with him, he actually said that I'm Spider-Man, and then all of a sudden you get this flash of what Max Dillion wanted to do, which was choke Alistair Smythe and saying that you're a Sagittarius, Spider-Man's a Leo, you're definitely not Spider-Man. Which I'm like, how in the frick did he find out that Spider-Man's birthday's in August? It's like, how in the world did he find that out? uh, yeah, it's just funny. Funny. So with that said, basically, he went, he went on the elevator. He met Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy and him had a little talk, and Gwen Stacy actually remembered his name. He was like, "Oh, she remembered my name," and then the doors closed as soon as he was going to, I don't know, pursue her or something. So yeah, basically, what happened, which I don't really have it chronological because hey, moviegoers are gonna say, you were typing in your cell phone. Turn it off or something. Turn it off. I'm trying to watch the movie, so that's why I can't really do it chronological. So yeah, so I'm just gonna continue on with this idea of so he worked all day and then eventually it was quitting time and Alistair Smythe said, "Hey, there's a problem with the electrical thing in one room. Can you stay and look at it?" I'm like, "But it's my birthday." He's like, "Yeah, thank you so much. And by the way, happy birthday." And then he goes and then he has to go to that room he did. And that's one thing I didn't talk about is the fact that as soon as you go into Oscorp now, you have a freaking somewhat AI who actually talks to you and everything, which that is kind of a big improvement from the first movie. I mean, in the wise of the idea of, well, the fact that they didn't have an AI. And heck, their badges apparently are not even badges, they actually have fingerprints now. So now it's not even touching the gobbledygook molecule thing. So, let's continue on. So he made it to the room and he actually saw that there's a messed up wire and he's like, can you cut the power for me? He's like, "No, dog, I'm just leaving the building. Yeah. Good luck with that." So he has to do it while the electricity is on, which is kind of crazy. Excuse me. So he has to do it with his electricity's on, and it's kind of crazy how it goes. Yeah, the fact that it's like, dude, I mean, if he tries to fix it, right, and all the electricity goes out in the building, it's not really his fault that all of the electricity in the building gets destroyed. It's because of you who said, I'm going out. I'm already out the building." Because I think the price is on your head because you are the one who can actually turn off the electricity and you decide not to. So that means that even if he made it out alive, but the electricity in the whole entire building is destroyed, it's your fault, not his. Your fault. Anyways, of course we know what happens because we've seen the trailer so many times, except we didn't actually see him sing happy birthday to himself, and he actually connected it. And then after that, he basically accidentally trips and he takes the wiring with him into that electrical tank. And we see all that, but we didn't get to see in the trailers the idea that the eels actually bit him and everything, and get to see their glowing eyes and all that. So boom, and all is left is just nothing but a shell of his body. So yeah. Yeah, I might be missing some. I think in between this, you had Spider Man who actually showed how he had to change his suit, and he had so much stuff he went through. Like, he got goop on it one time, he had chicken feathers on him at one time, and many other times. And this is also the part where it comes to the point of him actually him actually using the washing machine, and then Aunt May got onto him saying, "But last time you did, everything was red and blue." It's like, I do the laundry. I've been doing your laundry for a long time. Give me the bag. It's like, wow. Like, wow, they're really using it. And I do have to admit, that was one of the good moments. One of the funny moments, which it also kind of funny too, which I don't really want to talk about it, but I have to talk about it because in Spider-Man 2, guess what happened there as well? The fact that he washed his suit, and when he took out his underwear and took out his socks, guess what happened? They were bleached blue and red too. So that was kind of the funny part of it. Yeah, you guys remember that scene, the whole laundromat thing when he was actually trying to remember some poetry? Yeah, so let's go back. We're continuing on. I think it's also the part, like, within that sandwiched in there is the fact that he has to be Spider-Man many times, and there's one time where he's sick, which I thought that was actually supposed to be the ending, but apparently not. Man, I had two ideas of what was going to happen at the end, and one of them was just the idea that he was sick and you had to cope with it. So anyway, so yeah, we seen some of that in the trailer. He was sick. He actually had to suit up in Spidey, and he webbed up the guy, and he's like, "I'm Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man," and he puts like at least 5 cold medicines in there, and it's kind of like, dude, I would figure if Spider-Man just saved your robbery, you're like, dude, you saved my life. You saved the money in my cash register. You can have it for free, man. Yeah, because you had so many people who were like, in Tumblr, one person who's like, if Spider-Man lives in this place, you can live here for free. And you also had a Italian place who said Spider-Man can eat free here, which, yeah, you figure. You'd figure that that guy actually had the same idea. It was like, you know what? Dude, you freaking saved the robbery. You saved me from this robbery and getting shot. For that, free medicine for you, man. But instead, Well, actually, he didn't even say anything. He just, yeah, so I think Spider-Man just handed him money and left. But personally, I would say if he actually told me as Spider-Man, and he said, "Hey, you saved me from this robbery. All this is free." I'm like, "Oh, thank you, man. Here's $5 just in case, though." I mean, I wouldn't pay full price for it, but I would just say, "Here, man. You still need to have like a little bit of money so I can say that I did pay for some medicine." Which this scene also gets me to the point of thinking, which, never mind, I'm going to talk about that in the other next video. So let's continue on, and I think I'm doing this exactly right. I think... okay, yeah, so... Alright, so let's continue on with Electro. Electro actually... That was a cool transformation point. The fact that it was a cocoon and he just zapped his way out of there, that is just interesting. Awesome. Just... And yeah, that was just interesting. They also threw stuff in the trash. They actually had some clothes in the trash, which I guess, since it is a morgue, they would actually have some clothes thrown in the trash. So, yeah, he wore some corpse clothes and walked out. And then after that, you can see how it was like, whoa. Yeah, I mean, whoa, look at all that stuff that's going on. Which, now I can remember what's happening in this point now, because it is... So, yeah. Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man, basically Spider-Man webbed up "I love you" on the building. Everyone most likely saw it in the trailer. And then you also had Gwen saying, "Stop the car, we're not even moving." She got out, and then all of a sudden Spider-Man swooped up. They went on top of the bridge, which lots of people, I think, for some, were actually like, "Oh, she's on the bridge. Oh my gosh, she's gonna die." I was just watching, and I was like, dude, you shouldn't have actually have done that type of crap. I mean, seriously, you shouldn't. Which I failed to mention when they were doing that whole crap. Crap. Okay, sorry. This is not in sequence. Yeah, basically you had the point of, yeah, Electro was getting ready. Electro was walking through this alleyway. Everyone thought, some people thought, especially Seven, thought that this was actually a part of Peter's neighborhood, meaning that, oh crap, he's going after Aunt May. But no, it's just a regular neighborhood. You got to see what he saw in his eyes was just all electricity that he can absorb. And he actually said, oh, downtown has a lot of electricity. Let's go down there. And at the same time, you had Peter and Gwen, and this is where it was. This is where the cheesy Sundance music kick in. Which, I mean, yes, that's one thing that wasn't lost in the first movie. That's the good news. But the bad news is kind of like, still, oh, couldn't you have found some actual artist to do a song that you would think would fit in here instead of Sundance music? I mean, well, at least the good news is that he limited himself to just having one of those scenes in the movie, which is okay with me. So, with that said, this was the same time that Gwen was going to tell him that she's going to Oxford and everything. And this is also the point of, before this scene even started, Peter actually swung down in a spider web and hit the wall, which is kind of like, dude, come on, man. Come on. If you have so many people, yeah, which it gets even worse if I can tell you even more about this. Yeah, it gets even worse after I get to this point. But let's continue on. The fact that he swung down, and then they had this talk, and they're trying to be friends and all. And all of a sudden, he sensed something as soon as they made it up to near a tree. And yeah, he had no choice. He had to leave all his clothes, left his shoes. Gwen was like, yeah, good talk. And he actually had to go down there with Electro, which Electro, in the meanwhile, was actually absorbing electricity. And you had a cop brave enough to be like, everyone back away, freeze, get away from that wire. Yeah, and all of that. And Spider-Man was able to get there, and he made it there, and he said, oh yeah, you're my eyes and ears. My name is Max. And it's like, Max. And Gwen was like, oh, Max. Yeah, it's kind of funny when that happened, but still. Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. And what's crazy enough is just the fact that they made Electro into a fame whore, I guess you could say, or a fame junkie. Which is kind of like their big mistake, is the fact that if you saw him looking at all of the videos, all the TV screens, I would come to the conclusion of saying, well, he is looking at himself while looking at all the TVs. I mean, and plus he's deadly, so screw the rest of y'all who are putting Spider-Man on it. I'm focusing on Electro, so at least he won't shoot where I am if he tries to shoot the cameraman. So, yeah. Which is kind of a smart idea if they actually got the idea of, oh yeah, this is a new bad guy. I think if we basically get the attention away from him, he could start going rampage on us. But of course, they're just like some schools and stuff. Yeah, some schools, some who are ignorant to actually piece things together. But anyways, yeah, they can't be good detectives. Yeah, most of them can't be good detectives. But let's continue on. So, Spider-Man had him. They were in negotiation mode. And he's like, don't touch that crate and all that stuff. And, yeah. So sadly, something sparked. It was more the fact of the TVs were going on Spider-Man, and because of that, Spider-Man got shot and stuff. Of course, I forgot the idea of when Spider-Man came in, which is all the yeah. Spider-Man Electro gave a big impulse, and that kind of pushed all the cars everywhere, and Spider-Man came in to save a police officer who was about to get smashed by a car. Which, yeah, they should have not shot at him. At first when you shoot at him and it doesn't even work, it's the point of saying, you know what, not a good idea to shoot at him. We'll figure out some other way to do this. So yeah, and yeah, basically as soon as everything was Spider-Man on TV, that's when he got pissed off and he shocked Spider-Man, and one of his web cartridges, one of his web shooters got destroyed, which is horrible. Yeah, which is really, really horrible. So he had to make do with one web cartridge, which that was kind of cool. The fact that he actually had to. Yeah, so you finally get to have one where Spider-Man actually had to use only one web cartridge instead of two. And sorry, I'm just going to do one thing right quick. Alright, so yeah. So after that, lots of things happened. It was cool how they used Spider-Man his Spidey sense. They actually went in depth with it instead of what they did the other one, which kind of seemed like it was. I think it was Jason. Yeah, I think Jason was the one. Go, 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 go. That's kind of like what exactly the spider sense was in the previous film, which I should have actually continued have that in the film, but in the next movie video. But But anyways, yeah, they enhanced it and everything, made it slow mo, and he showed him how he actually had to deal with one web shooter. And the crazy part is first he knocked Electro in the big screen, and he absorbed and made himself even more powerful. And it's kind of funny that he beat him the first time he actually beat someone. Beat the first Electro in I think it's the third issue. But this time he actually had help. He had actually the firefighters to shoot freaking water out of the water hose at him to actually made him, not a threat. So yeah, and also while this whole entire thing from beginning where he had his father all the way to now, somewhere along the line he actually had his first fire in a house, but because of the franchises, and he doesn't want to be like the original franchise, he cut the part where he actually was doing the whole saving out of the fire. But you didn't get to see it on Tumblr though. Kind of funny. Anyway, so after that we continue on, and I think this is where enter Harry Osborn. Yeah, I think this is where Harry Osborn enters. And so Harry Osborn comes back, and you saw his father. His father was like goblin-esque. He got long nails. His skin was turning green. The idea to make it a disease, like a killer disease that's rare, is kind of funny. Wow. And you actually had Harry, and he kind of actually touched on why exactly we didn't see him in the first movie. It's the fact that he was abroad. He was actually sent abroad since he was 11, so that's why we didn't actually see him in the first movie. Even though they could have used the idea of, hey, Harry is Peter Parker's friend. Why doesn't Harry actually pull some strings with his father and actually get his father to put him in the intern program? And I'm sorry, this was actually part of the next movie or video I was going to do, but heck, I mean, seriously, doesn't that make sense? I mean, if he was supposed to be this good science student, you would figure he already have a. Yeah, so seriously, what the. Okay, anyways, let's continue on. So, you had Harry taking over for Oscorp, and the fact that they introduced a Felicia, which now whatever he does and whatever she does, you listen to them because, well, and Felicia was actually Norman Osborn's secretary, assistant. Sorry, it was assistant. So right now, I'm trying to figure out the angle that they're having because, hey, Felicia Jones, the actor who plays Felicia, she actually said, yeah, she spilled the beans in one certain interview, and I don't know. Is she trying to be a spy? Is she trying to get some kind of information? I'm not sure. That's the crazy part. And they did tease Black Cat in 2 video games already. But technically, you did have Mark Webb recently talk about how getting Craven in a movie would be very, very good because that's like one of his characters he liked, along with Mysterio. With that said, I would just like to say Sam Raimi really wanted to get Vulture in a movie. And that's what Spider-Man 3 was supposed to be, is Vulture and Sandman. But sadly, Sony screwed him over, and that's why he didn't get to have the character he wanted in a Spider-Man film. Yeah. So let's continue on, shall we? And let me look at my notes to continue on. Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, so in the Electro fight, the thing that really tears it and made Electro pissed off was the sniper dude, even though I thought he told him, hold your fire, but oh, no, he didn't. Yeah, so the question is, isn't that sniper dude the same one that was down in the prequel who shot Spider-Man in the... Yeah, I swear, if that's the same guy who shot Spider-Man in the freaking thigh or leg, that dude needs to get fired. And I would figure they would have already fired that idiot. But apparently no. So the same stupid idiot got a gun again, and he went gun-ho and shot someone that he shouldn't have shot. Good job, man. Good job. You still have incompetent police officers in your freaking... Yeah, good job on that one. Alright, to Harry Osborn. So... yeah, basically you had that, and then you had him going to the state and have that conference thing. And I could have sworn it was actually somewhere else, but Dad actually had the meeting at their house. So, they had the meeting at their house. Meanwhile, Peter was actually in the cafe, and he was actually sending more pictures of Spider-Man to J. Jonah Jameson, he was trying to plead with J. Jonah Jameson that Spider-Man looks like he's doing good. And J. Jonah Jameson actually replied, wrong! So, yeah. They can't really do anything. That's one thing they can't do. That's one thing that in the franchise they're not trying to do, is compete with their original franchise. Because if they had to get one thing right, and I would say J. Jonah Jameson was spot on the previous franchise. Heck, I would be shocked if they actually were like, you know what? Screw this. We're getting the dude that did it last time. Do it this time. Because, hey, why not? I mean, they could do it. All they have to do is kind of change the way he looks. Maybe model his look after the 616. Chances are, I bet they could do it. So, yeah. But for right now, they're kind of scared. I mean... yeah, I'm going to put that in another video as well. But, yeah. At least the good news, this other video I'm going to do, besides the video with the prequel, will be short than the prequel one. So meanwhile, having this meeting, Peter actually went to his house, and he had Harry saying, "I'm kind of busy and stuff," and because of that, yeah. Just thinking right now. I think the scene when his father died with quotations, he gave him a cube to actually say, I did all my research and everything in this, so use it well or something," and he died. I think because they did the stairs thing, they actually started cracking jokes and stuff, being friends to actually show it, which that's one thing they did good. It's established Peter and Harry's relationship. That was good. And basically they actually said, "Hey, let's go out." And they actually walked along the shoreline talking. This is where he learns about Gwen Stacy. And that's about it, besides the whole Peter shows his strength and he's like, "Whoa, you have a good arm." It's like, "It's all on the wrist, buddy." Yeah, you saw that in one of those trailers as well. You know, one thing you didn't see in the trailer is the fact that he was getting tailed by the Oscorp security team and Donald Macon, who's like, "You gotta stop this kid." Which, I think 616, I have no idea if Donald Macon. Heck, in Ultimates, I have no idea of Donald Macon. All I can tell you about Donald Macon is that's the guy that Norman Osborn in Spectacular Spider-Man tried to frame and make it seem like he's the Green Goblin. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense how Donald Macon wants to have a business of his own or an empire of his own. Why not? He can do it. So you basically had that, and I think it's a good time to show where Electro ended up, which is Ravencroft. Whoa. Yeah, so you had Ravencroft, and you had Dr. Kafka, which if you look at if you look at the end credits, guess what his first name is? His first name is still Ashley. Oh my gosh. So you changed his gender, but you didn't change his name. I mean, you would figure they'll change it to at least saying Ashton or Ash. So Ash Kafka. But instead, no, it's Ashley Kafka, which is like, whoa. Creepy dude. He's kind of like what Hugo Strange is to Batman. So, and he was being quite cruel, and it looks like the whole, yeah, Seven Webheads was like, he had a chip on his brain to get controlled and stuff. No, that's not a chip on his brain to get controlled. It turns out that is actually a meter to show how powerful he is. So if he's like at full power, the bar will be red. If he's lower than that, I think it'll be blue or green. So, and I think it's kind of cool that they actually mirrored the ultimate version just a little bit. The fact that he actually does sport some orange, which that's what he looks like when he's powered down, is his orange look. Crazy stuff, man. It's crazy stuff. So, yeah, you kind of get. So that's one thing about the Electro character, which, yeah, I said in the next video. Okay. Let's continue on, shall we? So, I think within this line, I think there's Gwen. Yeah, this is basically whole Peter thing, is because, yeah, during when Harry and Peter talked, they said that all I got is a briefcase. That's all my dad left me, and I think there's further moment of where he's like, you know what, I need to figure out something. So That's when he made this big fat wall. This big fat wall full of stuff. And Aunt May was like, holy sh. Yeah, but still, he had a big fat wall, and he was trying to figure out something about Roosevelt. Yeah, remember I mentioned that? Which, it took his Aunt May to actually get the idea that Roosevelt and Fifth in the subway line, along with smashing his calculator, which you would figure he would be smart enough to say, Aunt May said, my dad is a very secretive man. We already found out that in his briefcase he has a secret compartment, correct? What's even crazier is that he's using that folder that he still has. Just keep it out like that. I mean, come on, man. If they even want to do the cross species genetics again, and they'll most likely maybe do it again, they would want that folder. So I think it's a good idea to hide that folder somewhere so it won't be like, I'm looking through my dad's stuff and put all of it on the floor. There's the folder. But anyways, you would figure that if the thing had a secret compartment, chances are there's other things in the briefcase that has a secret compartment in it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. So to actually figure out and say, oh, holy crap, the calculator is not only a calculator, but it also is a coin keeper or a coin bank or something. Yeah, so that's where he was able to type up, and then that's when he was like, holy crap. So that's when, after two workers somehow who are down there come down, he jumps down, he goes to there, and he's like, So he found the coin, he puts the coin in, he does the turn thing, and of course we all saw the trailer. Yeah, I mean, if we all saw the trailer, that's why I wasn't like, yeah, the wall's gonna open and separate, showing a secret room. Yeah, instead we all know what happens. The fact that he has a secret cart, and that's where it keeps all his stuff. And it turns out that's Roosevelt, and that's when we got revealed that when he played hide and seek, his dad was actually downstairs doing a video to talk about stuff. Because his dad knew that it was coming. That was the interesting part. The dad knew that all that crap was coming. Most likely just didn't know what time. So, yeah. So that's the crazy part. And now his world is turned upside down. It's kind of funny that you have like spiders all over the place. Or spider webs all over the place. But the good news is that now he has a freaking lab set that he actually can use. That would be kind of useful, I bet. That would be actually something we can call number one on the whole. He's going to use that eventually. Or it's there for him to use, which it will be cool if they actually put it back in the next sequel. So after that, he goes to Gwen, who has Stanford. Oh, I didn't talk about what Aunt May told him. Yeah, so, yeah, let's go back. Let's rewind. We go back to Aunt May, who told him about Roosevelt and Fifth. She also said the fact of what she knew that happened is that the FBI agents knocked on their door and was trying to insinuate that Peter's parents were traitors. The fact that they were selling secrets to like another country or something, and that's why they were fleeing, is because of that. And yeah, crazy stuff. So let's continue on, shall we? Now we get back to the whole subway thing, the fact that he walks out the subway, and you get where he actually goes to Gwen Stacy going to Oxford, and he was trying to put things together, but sadly she couldn't be there for him because, well, she actually had to do that interview thing. So while doing the interview thing, I think this is also where, oh yeah, I think in between that, yeah, in between that you had, oh yeah, let's see, yeah, I think in between that I forgot something. In between it, you had Gwen Stacy who was typing up Max Dillon and trying to figure out what happened to him, but sadly, you had freaking security who stopped the clearance of everything. It just said no. It was like, yeah, we need to find whoever's looking for Max Dillon because we so need to keep that on the wraps. And then you had lots of people coming after her, and luckily Peter, which I think this was actually the part where Harry was calling Peter up because he was looking through the gym stuff. Yeah, looking through that cube, and actually was talking about, for some reason, Oscorp has been spying on you. What? Yeah. Wait. That was also part of where he actually was talking to Peter, trying to actually beg him to find Spider-Man for him because he needs his blood. And I think this, yeah, so I think along with that, this is also the part where they should have been like, you were being spied on, Peter. Isn't that the question? And then after that, he talks about Spider-Man. I think you kind of get the gist of either A, he knows where Spider-Man is, or B, he is Spider-Man. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's why Peter's down there, and Peter helps Gwen escape, along with the whole cliche closet thing where they had some romance in there. Yeah, so Gwen made it to the elevator, and guess who's in the elevator with her? Oh my gosh, it's Harry. So Harry got to even more talks with Gwen. Actually, get to meet Gwen and talk to Gwen. Yeah, so let's continue fast forwarding. She's now doing uh doing Oxford. I think this is also the same part that actually she's done. You get her driving in a taxi. Yeah, this is the one where, yeah, just what you saw in the trailer. She sees I love you. She gets out of the taxi car. She goes. Peter swoops her up, take her up to the friggin' thing. Yeah, but before that, basically you also had Harry Osborn betrayal. The fact that he was looking through stuff, and then all of a sudden he gets straight up rejected, restricted stuff, and it turns out that Ravencroft and Oscorp were working together doing some bad stuff and everything, and that's when they were like, holy crap. Yeah, so they pin it all on Harry so they can get him out, and Felicia, because we don't know her last name, is right there. Yeah, she's right there watching it all. Who knows if she actually went over there, took the cube, and said, all right, I got what I needed, or something. So, yeah, you basically had that, and that's what made him go to Ravencroft and break out Electro, which, yeah, this nice moment where he went to Electro. Oh, wait. I do have to mention the fact of how he got in there. He got in there, and then after that, he tased two of the guards, took their yellow card since he said, you need a yellow card to continue passage over here. So he tased them both, took the yellow card, walked. He went all the way to Electro, and he basically pleaded with Electro because, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, we need the previous thing that just happened. So Peter found Spider-Man and told Spider-Man, Harry Osborn needs you. He went to Harry Osborn, and basically he said the same thing that he told him as Peter. The fact that the blood is unstable. We have no idea if it could contaminate you and all that stuff, which, that's where the subway part is. So yeah, this is way before the whole part when he went to the thingy. So, yeah, basically you had Harry talk to Spider-Man, and he was like, it's a price, isn't it? I'll give you anything you want. You want a boat? I'll give you a boat. You want a jet? I'll give you a jet. kind of funny how freaking damn Disney screwed me over because of Ultimate Spider-Man. You now think about, oh crap, what if he did get a boat? Or oh crap, what if he did get a plane? Oh crap, what if he got that cycle from the freaking... It's like, no, stop it, no. Yeah, so he basically just said how dangerous it is and he escaped, and Harry got pissed off. So, yeah. Sorry, I had to drink something. So, he went to he went to the subway place, and basically his father told him everything, explained the fact that Norman Osborn was using the DNA as a kind of weapon. And anyone who uses spiders can't use it because it was encoded to Peter's DNA, or his father's DNA, meaning that you kind of have to have his father to redo it. Yeah, so he has to have the father redo the whole entire process, or you just need to be a part of the Parker bloodline. So if you're able to get the Y chromosome and fuse it with you, chances are, even though you might look like a buff freak, you still would actually be able to actually have. So yeah. So with all that said, basically you had Harry breaking Electro out with this amazing speech of saying, I need you, I really need you, I need you. And it was like, wow. Yeah, that's one thing you need to say, is that you need him. Because that's one thing he really wanted, is just the fact that he's needed. He actually is someone of importance. Excuse me. So Harry tasered him, the guards came. Electro was able to right out. Electro electrocuted the guys, and then as for Dr. Kafka, he got the same fate as Electro did. He's now actually in the water cage. So yeah, this is the part where I actually had to go because, well, you gotta go. So I missed some of the parts, but I think what happened by what they were talking about is the fact that they went to Donald Macon. Electro was shocking his heart and stuff to make him say where is some equipment and stuff, and that's where they actually get to the part of getting injected. Yeah, so yeah, he found out that the Venom is still there, the spider Venom is still somewhere, and they just needed him to actually tell him where, and then he revealed it. He got injected into it, and then we saw that the crazy transformation that he went through, which was interesting, very, very interesting. And he turned into a goblin, which now it's a good point to actually point out that the spider Venom was in room 4, while the goblin glider and suit was in room 7. So it's kind of interesting to actually talk about it. Let's see. Alright. Okay. Yeah, so anyways, let's continue on. So, while this happened, now you have Electro in now a new suit, and he goes straight to the electric plant. And this is where those two are up there on the bridge, and he noticed something messed up happening, and that's when you're like, alright, let's go to the plant. And oh yeah, and this is at the part where it shows that Gwen Stacy is more scientific than him. The fact that, yeah, they have to electrically charge his battery. His web shooters. So they got to a cop car. He charged magnetized them, and then it was like, all right, let's go. So yeah, he web Gwyn to the car thingy, whatever the car piece, whatever you want to call it, whatever. So yeah, he webbed her. He left. She said Peter, and he's like, oh crap. Yeah, it's like, yeah. You shouldn't even be together because that's kind of like a big Spider-Man's dating that girl. Which luckily enough, Peter's the only photographer to get pictures of Spider-Man, so that's the good news. But sadly, they are actually stand still for so long that someone could have actually took a picture of him. Someone actually could have. So yeah. So he made it to the power plant. This is where you get this. It's amazing. Yeah, I do have to admit that fight was good. Can actually top Spider-Man 2's fight? Nah, it can't top the subway fight. It can't top it. Because not only you had the whole fight where it was very cool, but you also had people involved. You had people who actually were like, had to be saved and all that. And plus you also still had, if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. It's like, yeah, you can't beat the original stuff, man. You can't beat it, but at least you could say you tied, or at least in second place of it. So with that said, wow, the fight was crazy. Gwen Stacy sadly was crazy enough to say, I need to help Spidey. I need to help him. So she filed herself out of the web and ran straight to the electric place. And with that, I do have to admit, the whole yeah, so they play Itsy Bitsy Spider with the electric spears, which electric generators, pillars. Yeah, pillars is a better idea. So yeah, they play Itsy Bitsy Spider, which was creepy but funny as well. So yeah, and he was able to beat Electro. This is also one of the ones where he actually saw Captain Stacy, and of course, while he was able to knock Electro out, Gwen Stacy was there and it's like, I can shut down the thing, I can reboot the system. Which Grace does make a point, even though I didn't want to try to use some of her knowledge, but she does actually bring up the point of, you are only just someone from biology, right? She uses the point of biology, so it's like, well, how exactly could you know anything about the electrical technology standpoint if you actually are just part of the biologic ward or biology ward or lab? So that does puzzle me, but technically I think they could have worded it better. They could have just said, well, you need me, because if you don't have someone extra to cover for you to actually do that procedure over there, you don't have enough time to actually do the procedure and get Electro. Yeah, and contain Electro. So that would have been a better idea than actually saying she actually knows how to do it. So yeah. So they were able to do it, and Spider-Man was actually going to make him overload, which they did, and then boom, explosion. Yeah, so you do get to see a piece of his head, which had the actual generator thing. Of course, everyone knows that electricity does not die. It just gets transported to something else. So they're actually now going the route of the show that freaking Avi Arad could actually have saved. But sadly, he was like, yeah, we're going to let MTV decide if it deserves season 2. But that's what they're basically doing, is the MTV Spider-Man Electro. The fact that he's now into wire works. So if they do want to bring him back, he's actually hitting into wires now. So yeah. So with that said, now you get the main event of the idea of, oh my gosh, Harry. Yeah, and Harry's laughter, my gosh, wow. Yeah. So you basically had Harry come in front of Gwen and Spider-Man, and it didn't take Harry long to actually say, Peter, so you're the one who actually said no. And it's like, no, you don't understand. Yeah, and then he takes Gwen, and Spider-Man tries to jump, and then he climbs up there, and it's like, she's not a part of this. take on me. Come on, fight me. And he says, okay. And just it's like, put her down. It's like, okay. And he throws her straight down. And Peter had to catch it. We saw that part. We saw that part of the Super Bowl. So, yeah. So basically, he made it in there. And then he lowered Gwen down to safety a little bit. Kind of. And then they started to fight. And then after that, yeah, then sadly some of the gears was like so some of the gears actually got loose and Spider-Man had no choice but to use a web to save her. But along with it, you basically had the idea of Harry still trying to kill him, and not only kill him but try to kill her as well. So yeah, you had this whole play with her surviving and stuff. Which you do have to admit, if the freaking webbing was actually freaking webbing, it would mess up. But, dude, bio cables. It's made of some kind of tinsel crap. Chances are the tinsel crap would survive mostly. So, yeah, I mean, seriously, the tinsel crap would actually have survived. So, with that, basically, you had Harry, and he was choking Harry and everything. And I forgot. I think the webbing snapped, and then he had no choice after subduing Harry to jump down there as if he's 2099. He tries to web her, and it seems like a hand, which was crazy. The fact that they actually made it look like it's a hand reaching out. It grabbed her stomach, and yeah, a big thud. Get her head hit. Which I do have to admit, I figured more of the fact of Harry subdued Spider-Man so much that it wasn't only her head that made a thud, it was her whole body that made a big thud. I thought it was something like that, and it turns out that in the rumors is that Harry snapped her neck in front of Peter, which made him go into blind rage. But anyways, yeah, they had to keep their PG-13, so basically, he webbed her, got the web in a certain location that won't crack or anything, and he jumps down, and then he's like, Gwen, wake up, Gwen, wake up, and you see blood coming out of her nose, and I would like to say this crying moment right here is better than the 2 crying moments we saw in the prequel. We do have to admit that. We have to admit it. And also we had the idea of, yeah, let's go back before all this, and during the whole Electro fight in the power plant, you had lots of things going haywire. You had planes, 2 planes that were about to crash into each other. Wow, that was just crazy. Yeah, so we're back to this one. This one is a better cry than any of the other 2 that happened. Wow. I mean, when it comes to me, I'm kind of like, it was bound to happen, but on the other hand, I'm like, I would really like to see Carnage. I really like to see Carnage take her life, not freaking 616, because you guys kind of said, you basically said that it was based on the Ultimates. I was like, yeah. And even if someone actually said that it's based on Spectacular Spider-Man as well, Spectacular Spider-Man got canceled. Meaning that Gwen Stacy is still alive in that. So, yeah. I mean, seriously. So, with that said, you had the funeral thing. You had many people coming up. It's messed up torture. The good news is that they gave Gwen's mom 2 sons, even though technically she would be all alone. Yeah, so you didn't want her all alone. You couldn't stick to the comics on that for some reason. But you stick to comics when Gwen Stacy needs to die. I don't get it. But anyways, let's continue on. So, you basically had Spider-Man for 5 months doing nothing. And it's kind of like, didn't Spider-Man 2 actually had Spider-Man No More? And so, I thought you said you want to do something different from the franchise. I'm just saying. Yeah, so basically, what got him back in the game was Rhino. And we also got to see the whole Collectro thing. We saw Dr. Ock's tentacles, Vulture's wings. We saw some empty thingy that was on the side, which I have to say, it most likely could be. Yeah, so I think number 7 was when he entered the door. So yeah, the glider's gone. You had Dr. Ock's tentacles was number 6. Then you had this was number 5. Then I guess they replaced the spider venom because for some reason they don't need it there anymore. And they actually now have none other than Rhino's costume instead of the Venom symbiote, which is kind of like, what? Which brings up to another point. It's just like the whole Tumblr sticker. They did it for promotional periods, showing the future because they're freaking out about the whole Marvel universe, cinematic universe is very powerful while theirs is not really good at all. So, yeah, you basically have that. And basically, they allowed Alex to break out of jail, gave him that suit, and that's why Spider-Man and also brings to this the kid that is the new kid that is the spotlight of this movie. His name is Jorge, and the previous one was like Jacob or Jason or something like that. Yeah, so this time you had this kid who he saved from an alleyway. Yeah, he came with his Spider-Man costume on and he just stand in front of Rhino. Brave kid, brave kid. So yeah, Spider-Man show up and he's like, "You want me to come down there? You want to kill me?" Yes. And he's like, he took the manhole cover and that's how it ended. Which that was like basically my second idea how it ends. Then you have the end credits, which they show off Green Goblin, they show off Rhino, they show off Vulture's wings, they show off Dr. Ock. Then you had the spear slash a pendant, which let's just say it's a spear. So they mentioned Craven. That's 5 people. And you also do have Electro, so that's 6, maybe even Lizard. I don't know. So yeah. That's basically it, everyone. That's the whole entire thing in a nutshell. I'm glad to be done with this, and personally, I would just say, even though I heard 3 people so far talk about this movie, I would say still I'm okay with this movie. It's better than the prequel, and it did better than Spider-Man 3. As for the original 2, I mean, I didn't even want to try to mention that third movie's name, but oh well. But yeah. I say go out there and watch it, and if you already watched it and you're watching this, well, that's good. If you actually watched this and didn't watch the movie, for shame on you, you freaking spoiled everything for yourself. I told you this is all full spoilers. Dude, that's not right. Thank you for listening, and peace out. Coming up next will be the prequel versus the sequel.